What's up, everybody? Nick Blazier here. Back with another position analysis video, we'll call it. This is going to be more like a game analysis. This was a practice match I played on Heroes today, and we got into an absolutely epic back game with some really cool positions. And I think into areas where the bot just loses its mind, you know. But as you can see, XG evaluated my level of play. This is the gameplay, not the entire match. But it thought I played at a 58, and my opponent played about an 18. This is on plus plus analysis too, which is amazing. On Heroes itself, it thought I played the match at a 10, and when I looked at it out in plus plus, it bumped me up to like a 23. So plus plus actually thought we played even worse than like lower applies. So I'm interested in this one. I posted a couple positions to see if anyone's got any insight or thinks maybe the bot is onto something there, but probably it's just unable to calculate this kind of stuff, you know. So I thought it'd be an awesome one to go through and talk about strategy, especially since we're kind of, you know, there's like no guideposts to work with if we can't like rely on XG to get these things right. So I can at least explain what I was thinking, right or wrong, and how I brought this game home pretty easily, even though it thought I should be, I don't know, it was bizarre. But before I get into that, thanks to everyone that's been reaching out about like missing me on the UBC stuff. I mean, I appreciate that a bunch. I was busy the week before working on the Cherry Blossom tournament though, which I think is like the coolest thing that I've been part of producing yet. So if you haven't seen that stream already, I'm going to share real quick in my browser here. On the USB, if you just go search for USBGF on YouTube, you'll get back their channel and then all these like latest streams from them. They deserve way more than like the 2K views they're at, by the way. But we did a lot of cool stuff where you can see here in like the thumbnail, I was able to like do interviews with people with XG up on the board. We have nice like graphics on there. And over on the American Backgammon Tour Facebook page here too, Blunderblots, Jason Dortle, made all these super cool recap videos that we were like streaming as part of this too, as part of our streaming as well. So you can go there and check everything out. And I would super appreciate it if you shared that around with like, if you think it's a cool thing, please do share it with people and show them. I would really love the community to see like what's possible in putting together like a tournament stream and coverage of it and everything like that. And super excited about all this stuff that we made there. And I think the only way to have more of that, if you liked it, is to get more eyes on it. So yeah, help me out with that. You can always help me out by, you know, if you want my book, what do I have that? I got the ad underneath the XG feed there. That's still around. You can still subscribe to me on YouTube and stuff like that too. I'm doing well on subscribers. I think creeping up on the 1,000. I've been making less videos lately, not on like a schedule, but I'll still be out there with stuff and plenty of play explains through WBIF. But okay, that's like all my news, I think. I guess the next tournament coming up with those Cherry Blossom folks is going to be Florida in August. So if you're looking for something to participate in or want to watch out for more streaming of that quality, you know, that's coming up. There'll be details on that in the future too. Super excited about that. Okay, let's go back to this wild game without further ado. I'm going to do my best to explain kind of what I was thinking through it and when we get off the rails and all these things. And we'll just do this like that match review. Maybe I want this to be a longer form one, kind of like the match review I did. I don't know if I'll make notes in Evernote on it. Maybe I'll do that after the video and just talk through. But okay, I'm playing the black checkers on bottom. Opponent opens with a split. Pretty natural to hit. And I just remember now that we play down after this one, but splitting seems very natural when you use a spare from the 6. I mean, they must be close. And we've got some simple options. We get hit back. I get to hit back. We get into a blot hitting contest. I enter with some weak 6s, and I mean, this was an interesting decision already. We have some normal backgammon decisions in this match. But yeah, when, you know, the obviously down in the race with more checkers back, popping out isn't so desirable and leaving my 24 points stranded. But everything else looks a lot like too loose. I don't really want to give him good 6s to play by playing 13-7. I don't want to come off my 24 point necessarily, so it kind of felt like the only thing, and it duplicated numbers as it were too. So yeah, it felt like one where it was confusing strategically, so I went with something a little more tactical for a roll. I get hit when we could have been covered. Okay. This was an interesting one too, where the 6 is still very bad when I enter. But at least this time I can take away half a roll and prevent him from cleaning so much up. And it's going to be hard for him to do everything, to hit, to cover, to make new points, right? So it seemed like a nice time. 6s from the bar should not be that good either. But he performs just fine entering and ends up with 2 points. I get another awkward 6 from the bar and go for another tempo hit. And put that third checker and leave it there on the 24, which is somewhat illegal, but it just, again here, like looking at the resulting position after I pop out to the bar, I think everything hits twice if it wants to with the better board and makes points and everything, and I just couldn't give him his full roll. So I went for the loose hit, even though it's on a deep point, and usually it would not be indicated to hit back on the 3, you know? With only 6 in the zone. This is a pretty impotent attack right now. But that brought the cube, which I took pretty quickly, thinking that I still, he's got 3 checkers back. I've got play. I'm going to have a lot of back games here and kind of do, should be able to establish an anchor. And as soon as I took it, I thought maybe this was actually a little bit optimistic. Maybe 5 checkers back and no board against the best board point is enough to just let this one go. But I was surprised to see XG actually wants to take here. So yeah, that was nice to get in correctly. It is, it's hard to take when your plan really is like, I'm going to have a double anchor game very often. I suppose I have 5 back to his 3 back, so I can just make it. I'm only down 40 pips in the race. We're both have a long game to go. So if I can just establish the 21 at some point, which looks reasonably likely, I can play a lot of holding games too. But so he enters very well and hits 2, and I'm feeling unsure about my play. I enter 2 and I'm ready to make an anchor, and he misses the opportunity to hit and take me off the anchoring point. Okay. And now I already have some pretty difficult decisions here too. This one I considered just hitting from the mid, but these are tough to go all in on like a back game kind of play when you don't have the back game yet. And I thought in this position with 6 back against this good structure, I definitely need a back game if I'm going to win, which isn't always the case. But so I thought the best way to get that was to put 2 on the roof, and that should buy me a roll to roll an ace or a deuce, or if I get hit, then I can roll a 3 or a 2, and hopefully it'll give me just enough time to establish the second anchor at least, which is like the first major step in having winning chances in this game. And if I can do that, I should be timed reasonably well too. I do have a lot of pressure to get all the checkers on the 24 point working, right? This is a pretty big liability. But, maybe I can link up on the bar point or something. That's like it doesn't look like my opponent's going to have such an easy time making the bar point and priming me in there either. So already a very interesting game developing. He only hits 1. I get to roll my deuce. Hooray. And the 5, not a whole lot of options. I don't want to leave my anchor. I'm surprised it's even close. So I just get to play down with it. He gets to prevent me from making the 3 point as well. I think that makes a lot of sense. I get to enter and hit again. And now I'm full back game mode, right? Like I might as well. I guess it feels like it probably buys me the most time and you try to keep checkers on the midpoint that are playable later. If I get hit and bored, then great. Hopefully I dance a little bit, something like that. Might slow him down from making the 3 point. Maybe I can get that still. And if he misses me somehow, then maybe I get to make a good point, So just these pure plays are relatively easy to find once you have like a pure, like the deepest back game in the ace deuce here too. And soon enough, we'll be coming up to the ones where I'm really excited to hear like what people think about this. And if there's, I don't know, how to navigate a position like this. But okay, so he gets to send another checker back and cover the 3. Very strong. I get to come in and pop out to the bar. Those 6s are huge. I'm going to make a couple silly mistakes here that I'll point out here too. But okay. 5-4. Yeah, no reason to let me make the 20. Now I have a bunch of checkers back, and it buys him time to attack on the bar point and maybe make that. Slow down my mobility. I fan, which is also, I guess, a fine plan for me. I'm over time now, clearly. But it's better than cracking. And 5-2. He's just playing around, and so I come in on the ace, and the 4 was kind of tricky here. I think I preserved the most. I would like to make the bar point, so I really thought about leaving it on the 18. but I'm usually going to get hit there, and then my opponent's going to have the bar point slotted, which isn't good. And I probably maintain the most timing by moving from the 18. And if I get hit anywhere, it's there, and I've saved all my pips on the midpoint. So that's why I chose this play. I think the bot is still like comfortably finding reasonable decisions here. I get hit while he's escaping. I dance. He gets to advance and make the 7. Brutal. And yeah, so here a couple times, I don't know why, we were playing speed gammon, but when you have a spare ace, of course you don't want to waste your pips on the front side. Of course, I'm not really gaining much by hitting from the 5. And of course, I'm gaining massively by stepping up to the edge and preparing when he doesn't cover to escape with 6s. So I don't know. I just played too fast in speed gammon and missed this. But very important to shuffle those forward. And I'll miss that again at some point. But my first like really exciting play in the match is right here. So my opponent ends up with a checker back on the ace, right? They have the 6 prime. I have this 3-2, and now I'm under some timing pressure, even though I'm down 150 pips in the race. Well, I have like 100 of those pips locked up behind a 6 prime that need to get moving in these 5 extra checkers back here. So I am in like pretty big danger of getting like overtimed and cracking with these. At least it'll only be like 6 checkers that I'm playing deep if that happens, but it's not good. And so I was not sure how to play this really, and ultimately decided to play 13-8. But I really enjoy that the bot's already thinking about giving up the 6 points somehow. I'm not sure why it wants to make the deep point instead. And this is going to be a theme. For some reason, with this many checkers back, it always is thinking about like still making board points, where I think if you want to win this game, this is not very helpful. But the fact that it wants to go make a point like that instead of playing off the midpoint means something to me. And so I have a feeling that something like if plus thinks, okay, it doesn't actually think this is reasonable. But I did consider maybe it's time to give up the 6 point in a game like this. I think I want to have the 6 point, and I think him rolling 5s could be good for me. We don't have it there. But it's confusing. I'm going to have such a hard time timing this that maybe in a practical sense, breaking the 6 point is good, because maybe he'll scoop up all these blots, and then I'll have less blots that can potentially get stuck back here or buried, you know? So it seems like a reasonable plan. And I'm really intrigued that XG, for some reason, actually does want to start doing something different with the 6 point. It leads me to believe that we're in deep enough back game territory where maybe it does make sense to give up the 6 point. And we're already somewhere where I think it's going to struggle to analyze. But playing 13-8 must be pretty natural. I just hope he comes around and breaks his prime, and that I have barely enough timing in my midpoint to then start rolling 6s and escaping before I crack too bad. So that's the plan. When I play down there, my opponent hits for lack of options, I guess. I guess he could just break the 13, but and it's not really giving me timing to take this checker and put it behind his 6 prime. That's like a concept I work with students on regularly in back games, is that just adding the pips isn't enough. Like I have to be able to recirculate that to have gain timing, and I can't right now. So when you have a 6 prime, sending more behind it can be a good thing. Something to look out for. I fan. He's just trying to bring this around. I enter, and it wants me to. So like now, like 6-3. I don't understand why I would do that. Maybe I save the most timing on the midpoint. Maybe I really don't want to be hit with an ace. That could be here actually. So it's possible. It's like reasonable. But I mean, I'm definitely getting, with 10 checkers back, I'm getting into territory where I'm happy to like cast a little bit of doubt on XG's ability to play this. It is not going to find the snake, that's for sure. But it fascinates me that it wants to do that when its plan is going to be to like remake deep points and not work on trying to build a snake around the midpoint, which leads me to believe that in some sense, like the 6-3 play must be even better than it thinks. But I don't know. It's just going to struggle to compare to possible outcomes here. And it's going to be relevant. You'll see. Sure, he gets to play a checker in quietly. I'm just trying to... So what I thought here, I think I'm trying to get my checkers into the board very quickly as well and try to kill 6s is my best idea. And there's no way to do that. But I'm hoping that maybe I have time to like hold on to at least the 5 point. So I don't think I need to do anything too cute here. But maybe 13-8, 10-4 actually makes me not have to play to the ace as often with a 6 or something. So Fours is great for me. Now I'm hopefully going to get a way to pop out before I crack, but who knows? Again, I forget with the ace to just step up 24 to 23. I don't know what I'm doing here. But I decided to like pre-clear. My idea here, if I didn't have this ace to play, was that maybe if I can break the 6 fast enough, I can kill my 5s as well and preserve some sort of little boardage on like the 5, 4, and 3 here, rather than having to like dump to the ace with 5s or something like this. But he decides to let me out, and it's interesting how, I mean, very important to give me as many rolls as possible to crack here. I get a 5 and have to play deep. Things are looking pretty bad, but I haven't buried checkers yet. And I get a 6 to pop out. Hooray. We're doing okay. He's clearing. The 5-2. I'm just trying to get things circulated around, but we start to see already a lot of this where the bot wants to clean up like blots and make deep points. And my idea here is just get checkers around, build some sort of snake. If I can, I want to build an outfield prime around the 5 points. That's strategically my goal here. And I also want to get off backgammon, so I want to spend a lot of things from my back points here. But I can't imagine how I'm going to win this game if I have 2 checkers out of play on the ace, basically. It's going to be very difficult to contain. So it seems already like it's misjudging like wins in this. Like there should be a pretty dramatic difference in how often I can win if I allow these checkers to potentially be recirculated or whatever and focus on building structure in the outfield to contain. But so continuing on, can work on clearing small stuff from my opponent. Here again, I'm popping out, but it wants me to play to the 10. It's just really focused on making some board points, and it's not clear to me why. It's also not clear to me how I can not lose more backgammons, like significantly more backgammons by not playing out. I guess he can slow down so much or something like this, but yeah, I thought the 15 to 12 is nice because I think I do want to make the 6. Maybe I should actually leave things out here and start building in the outfield. Both are reasonable ideas to me. Our opponent takes some checkers off. The 4-1, I forget to play 24 to 23 again. I have no idea why. I don't know why this doesn't pop up higher on the list. This seems like crystal clear to me. If I just keep missing this in this game for some reason. But 24 to 23 must give me more numbers to escape and try to get off the backgammon. That's great. Maybe it makes it harder to break the 23 when I'm ready to do that. But I'm not in a big rush. I think it's more important to get like counterplay developed and hop out and also keep these points for as long as possible. So I think it's good to have a spare there and to try to pop out. And then the 4 can move wherever to just try to build outfield structure more or less. He gets to clear the 6. Beautiful shot. I'm still popping out. XG still wants to make board points. Who knows? It's super interesting. But yeah, actually, I'm curious if anyone has like feedback on this. If it really does seem more important. I can't imagine like it's only 1.5% more backgammon somehow. I get it. Like it feels like the assumption is that I'm just always going to hit a shot or something. I don't know. I don't know what this is about. But it feels very strange not to try to pop out and get off the backgammon there. All right. My opponent's starting to get pressure on their position. I have the 3-2. Once again, XG really wants to make the ace point. I like slotting the 6 and trying to make it here and then getting more covers in range. That's my idea. It's also happy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But we're going to see a lot of that. Then my opponent clears 2 points. And yeah, now it's like really thinks it's a priority to make the 6 point first. And again, like the 6 point with the ace is compelling to it. So just really like it can't imagine how we're going to win if we don't have a board. But we're going to contain out here. You know, like the outfield is where the fight's going to be if we get to hit a checker. So, and we're hoping, I mean, I'm happy to have these recirculated in a lot of cases and just try to build something out here to contain it. So already we have pretty differing strategies for how to bring this one home. My opponent gets to take 2 checkers off. I will also say here, I'm trying to get all my spares deployed in the outfield. So I'm going to do that with 5-4 again. I mean, what is this? What is this 15 to 14 to 5? Like, how can that do anything? What is this? I don't know. Like, I just, like, I can't see how the priority is making board points here and not saving backgammons. So I really think it's pretty lost. It does seem to see that we're going to lose more backgammons when we make this play, but not by much. And we're going to win so much more, so it's fine. And lose a bunch less gammons. I don't know. But, okay, to get back to my focus and my plan here, spreading out, making points out here, going to need to make the 6 eventually. But a thing I've also noticed is that right now my opponent has 4s and 3s and aces to play, and 6s and 5s. The only missing number is 2s. So I do want to give him a 2 eventually. But I've found that the best time to do that is when your opponent has 3 checkers left on the point where the deuce is going to have to play from. And so when that happens, if he rolls a 6-2, a 5-2, or a 4-2, then he's going to have to take a checker off and break the point to hit and leave a double shot. So that tends to be the scenario you're waiting for in these games before you leave the front anchor. So I could create a deuce here right away. That's bad, but it's only going to free up 1 checker. And I'm only going to get the single shot at it. I'm not super ready anyway. I'm going to wait until he's down to that, is my idea. So I pop out. He takes 2 off. He's even. That's terrifying. Disaster. And 5-1. I don't want to leave this yet. I'm ready to just make the 6 points and keep containing out here. But I guess, okay, XG is maybe ready to come off the 23 here. But again, really wants to make the deuce point. I don't understand. And eventually, I'm going to... Well, I don't know. No spoilers in this game. Well, we'll get to it. So he rolls the ace. This is beautiful. Now I have my scenario where he has 3 left on the outside points. And so I'm ready to break the 23. And so I go ahead and do that. And it's got preferences about how I do it. But again, just trying to flood the outfield, get checkers in range of making the 7, all these kinds of things. And I'll think about blocking points and things like that. I am playing speed gammon, so I don't have time to calculate it all here. But I feel like you can still play this reasonably well, at least the way I'm thinking about it, on short time, just strategically with the concepts I'm talking about. There's probably small differences in a lot of which point you make and things like that. And ultimately, maybe you want to be somewhere where you're going to be blocking 5s or 6s from the, I don't know, small stuff, though. The big strategy stuff is what matters. And my opponent follows up not by rolling the deuce, but by rolling a pretty decent number for me in double 3s, which is going to result in a lot of checkers off, which is going to make it hard to win. But I get the double shot right away. So, not all bad. But I'm going to follow up with a 4-3 and miss. And here's one of my favorites, where it's just how can this be right from the bot? It just wants to give up the 5 point to make the deuce and the ace. We just have to blitz and close out. I guess is the idea immediately. Don't have to worry about our opponent entering on the 5 and scrambling home. Yeah, it seems like suicide. So I swap the bar point. Seems way better. Somehow I lose a lot more backgammons that way. That doesn't... How? I guess he can... there might be some truth to that, actually. Maybe when I have blots there, he enters and then rolls a set to come around, and there's some bad sequences that way. I don't know. But I felt like I was going to be able to construct something. But my opponent finds an absolutely amazing number for me. Before I switch to the next one, maybe you saw it while I was switching between it. But what am I rooting for my opponent? We just talked about it, right? The 6-2, 5-2, 4-2 here are pretty entertaining. And he finds the 5-2 and leaves 3 blots for me. So now, I got a hit. But if I do, I must be doing okay. My opponent's never going to have a board again, potentially. And I do enter with the 3 to be able to hit in the ace. But again, this is the first giant one where now this is an 800 error to not play it XG's way. And I'm super curious about this one. Maybe I can make some sort of case where he's just going to enter and hit 2 and buy his time to come around a little too often or something. I don't know. I guess, when I hit 2, though, I don't know. I guess I can lose some backgammons here. I struggle. It must, if we're going to make the deuce point, then it's just a damage control play. It's just going to be a lot less often that he enters and hits a checker. It's only aces, so it's only going to be 1 checker that gets hit. So maybe the swing on 3-2, 3-1, 2-1 is just too big and he can buy time to scramble home. But it feels like that's going to be really tough if I just send 2 checkers back and I'm getting hit and maybe going to hit a 4 from the roof and all these things. It seems to me like I have enough. And like I should be able to win this pretty often, especially when he misses. So I don't know, but like I think this one's probably worth playing out just to see how big of a disaster it is when those get hit, things like this. But my instinct is that it's just lost and it just doesn't know how to win from here. But the funny thing about it too is that it thinks we win 45% of the time after we make the deuce, which I guess maybe the argument here is that like, I mean, what I'm most worried about really is my opponent entering and rolling a 2 and safetying those 2 checkers. Like, that seems like an absolute disaster for him to remake a board point in my board here, which can happen if I make this play. So I can't see it. I think that has to be, a question that I asked on the forum when I posted it is how many checkers do we want to send back here? And we do have to worry about that. When we send 2 back, it's possible he can anchor, but he has no board point when we do that. And most of the time he's going to be forced to play from the back and just break it anyway. So I think sending at least 2 back makes a lot of sense in this position. And I would argue that sending the 3rd back is probably good as well, because we need a lot of time to like assemble some structure. And so if we can keep him kind of juggling and not able to like potentially be 1 roll away from, linking up with a checker on the ace or something like that, I think that's going to be very important for us bringing this home too. And we can work on a trap or something like that later, but it's unlikely that he's going to be able to park on an anchor and just hold. So yeah, I think we should be sending as many checkers back as possible here. But my opponent enters with an ace, sends 1 back. I enter with a 4-6, follow my idea of sending it back, and now I make my 1250 error in hitting when it really wants me to play the 19 and make the 3-point. Which there's something to it. It's part of the structure. Maybe that's okay, but I feel like I'm okay with these 2 getting recirculated and just trying to like join the army and focus on containment. And like I said, I think I need the 3rd checker to like buy myself time to roll this around. I don't know. Like I struggle to imagine how we can actually be a favorite to lose a backgammon after that play. We only have a 2-point board, but our opponent's like has a no-point board, and we'll always have a no-point board. So we can afford to play pretty loose, as far as I know. Like we're just always going to enter and do something next time. And it feels like relatively easy to start rolling home from here, just following the strategy that I put together. And once again, I'm like amazed that 24% on that, and then like 42% wins or something like this. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's still worth playing this out. And I think I will test that and kind of see how it goes and if I just get instantly crushed a little bit too often here. But my rollout of 1 went pretty well. I'll give you that. So after the hit, my opponent anchors up. I'm a little worried about that, but not really. I think my opponent establishing the 24-point and holding it for a while, I think there's a lot of wins there for me too. Like I don't think that's a bad result. My 4-3, I'm super excited to get to cover and make a blocking point that's like pure with the prime. It wants me to make board points some more, so we got another 500 error on the menu. Okay. I think, yeah, it's funny. And then same idea there mainly, but 2-6 is going to be forced to pop out now. The aces cannot hit. So what I do here is enter. I think I want the 24 to like have my last like point of safety in case he starts to get by, but it's a couple rolls till he can escape here anyway, and I block his like furthest progress roll in 6-6 by making the 20-point, thinking that if he comes there, now I've got him like stuck in front of a triple shot, which is like a pretty nice improvement, and it seems like I cover everything pretty well. I'm pretty sad after like a 2-4, I guess, or a 4-3, 4-6 and stuff like that. But if he gets the 1 checker around to safety, I think I have enough time to like build my structure and try to contain it and pick that up later, things like that. Maybe I want that to be there so that he's forced to play on this side and break. So there's a lot of ways this game can go, and I'm not really seeing a big problem there. Yeah, here he decides to get the back checkers moving for me, which I think I agree with XG on this one, that it's much better to delay my progress and see if we can just get home and sit on this ace. If we can reinforce it and keep it for a while, maybe we're doing pretty well. I don't know. But I feel pretty good when he like just kind of leaves and goes for mobility, but it's a reasonable idea. 6-2, yeah, I'm just hitting off the edge. And I mean, this is another 1 point error. And the better play is to safety a blot and hide one behind. So, I mean, like, I just, these all look like give up plays. How am I ever winning once I put a checker on the ace and stack things up on my prime? Like, it would make sense if the numbers came out as like 0% wins, but we like dramatically, well, I mean, we do dramatically reduce gammons and backgammons, according to the bot. And maybe there's some truth to that. But I'm not sure I can see how there can be truth to like 28% wins versus 44%. And I don't know. I'll be interested to play it out, but I'll be surprised if after my play I get gammoned and backgammoned half the time. Again, like as I assembled things, I felt like I could be like a super joker away from some bad things happening, but I felt like I had some time. And yeah, I don't know. I was able to assemble something very quickly because I played this way for sure. So I hit. He's going to hit off the edge. That seems like it makes a lot of sense to me. I sort of miss there and make another blocking point, so now fives aren't getting by either. And if he rolls fives from here, what do? They hit on the ace. That's fun. That doesn't seem all bad. So you can see I'm just starting to try to like block some root numbers here and try to assemble some structure so that I have a snake along with this. And I think it seems a little weird to divide them into two armies like this. But to contain these three checkers, I think I need just enough structure to build off of later to like work toward. But I do need to like let my opponent hop past it so that they can't just sit on an anchor and wait to win the race that way, I think. So it felt like eventually having these two armies separate, worked pretty well. He gets hit and link up out here, which I felt like, yeah, it's interesting that it actually wants 17 to 12. I don't know if I have a strong opinion about this one, but I felt like when he made the 17 at first, that was like the scariest roll to me. But then, I mean, he does have some super jokers and like big sets now make a lot of progress linked up and they're threatening to potentially just dump checkers into the board. But I mean, with these three blots back and the points and everything, like it's a little hard to imagine how he's going to get these checkers past to safety without just cracking and losing them again. So I'm really still not like worried about anything here. Seems like it should be fine. 5-1, I decide to enter and spread out to have as many shots as possible when he comes around. I guess I can get hit on a 6-5. That doesn't seem bad, really. He rolls the 3-2 and has to break. Sure, however he wants to do it. I'm going to hit that and then make the midpoint. And maybe there's some other plan here. I think hitting's very good. But yeah, maybe I don't want like the 13 and the 18. Maybe it's putting a lot of pressure to start building. But a lot of times when we're building a snake, it feels like the easiest place to do it can be around this midpoint and kind of build backward from there. So I'm already thinking about how am I going to get more points in order in the way. And all these outfield blocking points seem to be doing a lot of work for me. This is move 40 of the game for each of us, by the way. So nice long one. 5-1 just enters and pops out, forced. And 6-5, yeah. So now I can make another point and start to think about maybe I have some priming value out here. And there can't be that many numbers that I can get by. But I do risk, I'm not sure what, I guess sixes, some things. If it gets by, I only have the 24-point checker now. So it's getting a little bit more difficult to, like, it'd be nice to have a double shot when he gets past my points. But I just am starting to feel pressure to have some sort of structure to contain him. And so I think blocking points, I'm starting to get focused on building something together here and getting ready to kind of roll forward and build around the midpoint. 5-3 links up when it wants him to just try to escape by with one checker. I don't know. Both make sense to me. And double twos. Now I finally find something, and the bot agrees with me on this one. Cool. But yeah, it really feels like, okay, now I can sync these up and have like a 3' that interacts well with this 9 points. And be in good containment shape. And when he gets by, I have at least the shot from here and a double shot a lot of times. So it feels like it's containing pretty well. Maybe I didn't plus this one. Yeah, okay, good. My PR should get a little worse now, up to a 59.3. Because I missed 24 to 20, like breaking contact, and 18 to 16. I don't know. Like, how can 24 to 20 be part of it? And why is 6 to 4? I don't know. It's just funny to see the bot struggle with some of these. 4-2, okay, he gets to try to run by. This is about the only play. I get to hit and make another, blocking point. And I actually thought about this one. I could be wrong about this. I'm not. It feels like not efficient enough to stack it up on the 13 for building later. I do unblock. So he has 6s that play now. And my idea, I don't know. I guess he's probably just popping out with a lot of 6s. But eventually I might want him to have to play a 6 that hits here to break this point so that I can attack here and kind of start connecting all these checkers with my front army. So I thought that like opening up points probably isn't too bad here. He fans, and then I get to cover it with a 5-1, which again, like 14, 13, I guess he just wants to create more numbers to like, it just doesn't understand the snake concept that we're going to potentially prime out here. And you can see it here where it just wants to break the points and deploy them to build the board and skip straight to that concept, but it's not worried about having to contain. So I really do wonder like what my winning chances are all through this. And I thought about with like 3 checkers, I don't know, am I supposed to cube much earlier? Who knows? Ace-6 enters, don't get him to crack, but that was a cracking number that I had created before. The 6-3, I'm quite happy to break from the front and create a point that interacts with my prime now too. And now I'm ready for him to roll something that has to come off, hopefully pick that up later, and start pouncing at least these 2 blots. 5-1 just has to step up. 4-1 gets to make another priming point. So I'm still just trying to roll around and buy time, and double 4s is a disaster, but what can I do about it? And maybe I get to pick that up later anyway with this back checker. 6-2 is forced to run by. This is like a miracle for me. Now if I can just point on the 16 or make it and slot it, I'm pretty happy. Yeah, this is interesting. I'm not sure. Sure, maybe. I don't know. But, okay. So my 5 gets to hit, and the 2 gets to step up for a cover. And I'm starting to feel like I'm getting pretty close to like having the 6 prime I need to win this and bring it home, Things are looking good. Ace comes in, 5 plays behind, and I'm a little bit worried about not picking up this checker, but now the focus seems on priming in these two checkers right now, I think. 5-3, so I'm happy to cover and slot even though the 6 comes out. Maybe double 6s is a little too strong or something, but like 1 roll away from my 6 prime. And maybe there's something better to do. But again, like how can 9-6 be it? Like how can we not be building our prime out here? I don't know. I think the bot's lost there again. 6-4 hits 2, which is like the disaster, but we're still containing 1. We're still shooting at this. We got lots of chances. I can see how I can lose a lot of backgammons after this maybe, but it actually thinks I'm all the way down to 19% now, which is interesting. I roll something of a miracle in double 4s to enter both my checkers and clean up, but I can't hit, which is a bummer. XG just wants to give up a point. Yeah, that's going to help us get off gammons, I guess. 6-5, nothing to do but hit me there, so I'm hoping to hit. And I cannot, but, he's got 2 checkers. I'm worried about him linking them up. But, yeah, at least I can go recirculate and do things like that, Like, hopefully if I can just establish my prime, then I have ways to try to go pick those up. And so I'm immediately going to put a checker here and try to be hit on a 3 so that I can go back and pick that up. He obliges with the 3-5. I enter and have to keep trying to hit for that. The 3-5 gets to pop out. I get to make another board point and roll home a little bit now. And so where this ended up, for a while I was thinking about if I should have sent a cube somewhere earlier, but now it's like a little bit scary. For sure, this could have like slimed home to a loss pretty easily in this part. So maybe I did get something wrong in here. I don't know. Here I wasn't sure. I'm happy to hit, and I thought I might as well have a point blocking for containment later. I'm not sure why it's particularly better to slot on the edge. 2-5 enters, and 4-3. Yeah, this one I think it's probably right. I think I just probably played this one too fast. I mean, for all the same reasons. I need to hit loose to keep him from escaping with like a 6. I'm still blocking double 6s is maybe part of the thought. And I contain really well on like a 6-4, 6-5. But I want him to hit with a 2 or a 3 so that I can go pick up more checkers. But I get my wish. He rolls the double sixes. He's blocked. I get a triple shot. And I hit it with this. And yeah. Now I guess at least like I'm thinking about covering the back of the prime here. But it's getting messy. 2-5 enters. Fives, I think 17-2. Okay, I didn't see this play. I think hitting loose on the deuce and making the 3 is going to allow me more time to circulate, but I had to play it pretty quick, and I saw that I could make the point, and puts a lot of pressure on me to get hit on the ace or something like this, but I can do it. And so if we can get to closing out one checker with these two here, we're already a favorite in this game, which is like, I don't know, it's just quite interesting to me. Like with all that it just, I don't know. You know, like that it can go this way. It just seems like it couldn't see this future. But I assume that it's starting to understand, but maybe it's also underestimating. I don't really know. I doubt it. We get a fan. I for sure want to put a checker on the ace to have a chance to go pick these up. That's going to be really important. An ace 6, I still have tons of time to contain and everything like that. Not that big of a deal. But, you know, I really don't want him to clean these checkers up. I want to get him back. And so he misses me. I'm going to get checkers in range of covering the outfield if he does enter and pop out. He misses again. The 5-3, it wants to bring in the cover. Maybe it's just to attack again on the ace actually when we get hit, but I think either idea must be close. And he fans again. I slot the back. Maybe it pays a little bit too much to a 1-6, but I doubt it. Again, like I just want to enter and hit checkers, and I think that's fine. And I'd really like to make the back so that I can more safely slot the front like this. He fans. I still can't cover the back. He fans. And 4s still can't cover, and I'm starting to crowd to the front and get a little bit worried about pulling off my plan. The ace 4-5 hits. And now, from the roof with the 5-point board with like 6s and 5s hitting loose, 2s and 3s. So aces and 4s, like a 1-4 is a disaster. But even that, I guess, I probably just like break the 2-point is what I should do to hit, or something like that. But yeah, it thinks now at the score that I have a redouble and a take, which doesn't surprise me too much. I really wasn't sure, you know, what the references were for 1, 2, 3 back closed out with an ace point, when to send it. I thought I must be getting close. And I think for money, this is probably not quite a cube then. But since it's 5-away, 5-away, I'm going to reduce gammon value. There's like the recube is very weak. The take point goes up a little bit as well. So I think we can get this cube in a little bit earlier. But I miss like one of the more fun potential plays of the match that I really agree with the bot on here, which is just that we cannot afford to let our opponent anchor. So after we hit on the 22, just break the 2 and hit 2-1. Yeah, it seems really like maybe not in speed gammon I would have found that. Or I don't know. But it seems very clear when I see it afterward. Our 4-point board is plenty strong to like work on this. We don't have to worry about being hit back so much. We need to worry about our opponent anchoring. When we get hit back, maybe we pick up the 3rd one and win that way. But now that I've sent another one back and have that there, I am in the driver's seat and I can claim, and it doesn't care about my cube action too much because I'm not missing out on much. But I think in my head, like he had a lower take point. I don't know what I was thinking. I was just having to play speed gammon, so I actually wasn't sure. I thought I remembered for money that this was probably a double and a pass with 12 off, because like even like we can bear off if we close out this checker, we can bear off really aggressively because if we get hit, we maybe pick up a 3rd checker anyway, you know? So I think actually having a 2nd checker and a point on the 24 and one less checker off for white is stronger here. And then he's doing very well. And I haven't closed him out yet either, so I wasn't sure. But decided with the 4-2 that it's also worth, this 3 to ace is clever. I didn't think about that. But yeah, I mean, I figured I have to prevent the anchor somehow, and if I get hit, maybe I go pick up the other checker. When I get away with it, I'm thinking the same thing. The closeout is good enough for a double and pass. XG seems to agree, and I finally win this one. And it didn't seem like that much of a sweat at any point either, despite having to make all these disaster plays along the way. Yeah, so that's how you play nearly a 60 PR. And it seems to think that I gave up 7.5 points in in one game of equity, and I just got incredibly lucky, like 13 points worth of lucky. I don't know. Some of it I agree with. It would be fun to like remove it and see which ones, but yeah, I don't know. I've shared my thinking there. I have my doubts about some of the plays. Maybe I could have done a lot of things better. I hope some really good game players will watch this and give me some feedback. Let me know what you guys think about this one, because like I said, like I just don't know that we can trust the bot, and then we don't have this like mathematical sort of objective answer to the position. And so I've got my own instincts about it and how it played out, but I could be playing too bold and maybe risking too many backgammons and gammons. That could be true, or it could just be out of its mind. So I'll probably do some practice games around it too, and maybe share my results of that. But I mean, this was too much fun not to share as a video. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, the deep backgammon strategy. Like I said, please go watch all the coverage we did of the Cherry Blossom 2, and let me know what you think of that, and share that around. I mean, you can share my videos and channel around too, but share that stuff around and let people see it and let them know if you think it's exciting. I think it was. So thanks everybody, and bye for now.